Eddie Murphy and Mel B's teen Angel is celebrating a big milestone. Mel B takes to Instagram April 7th to wish Angel a happy 18th.
I am not saying that the trans women aren't women. I am just saying that they got. You know what I mean?
I saw Eddie Murphy 15, 16 years ago pick up friends of mine on that street block. So I know for a fact Eddie Murphy, ever since 96, has been utilizing.
I love my wife, and I'm not gay, and I'm not, and that's what's weird about this, to have your sexuality question and your moral fiber.
Eddie Murphy and Mel B's child, Angel, just came out as transgender, and Dave Chappelle is now calling out Eddie for being a... Dave is asking, why do so many celebs suddenly have trans kids? Just look at the list. Dwyane Wade and Gabrielle Union, Cher, Robert DeNiro, Sade, Marlon Wayans, Megan Fox, Angelina Jolie, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, Elon Musk, all of them or non-binary kids. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The actual list is much longer. Now, sure, this is anecdotal evidence, but let's be honest, the odds are insane. Statistically, this doesn't just happen. So what's really going on? Some people say these kids are just starving for attention, and that makes sense. Most celebrity parents are this who are never... Dave Chappelle thinks it's deeper than that. He claims there's an actual agenda in Hollywood, a practice where celebrities have to sacrifice one of their own kids to the machine, either to unlock that next level of fame and wealth, or to bury something from their past. And according to Dave, Eddie Murphy fits into that second category. And if you're old enough to remember Eddie in the 90s, then you know the scandal. Eddie got caught with a trans woman, and that woman later lost her life under very suspicious circumstances. And then reports surfaced that Eddie allegedly paid hush money to her friends to hide something that could sink him. And just like that, the whole story was buried, and Eddie bounced back. His career exploded, and no one asks him about it anymore. Fast forward a few years after that incident, and Eddie welcomes a child with Spice Girl, Mel B. The child was born female and named Angel Iris Murphy Brown, but Angel just came out as a trans man. So is all right about this alleged agenda and calling out Eddie? Is Eddie's trans son the price he paid to erase that scandal from history? And what's the real reason so many Hollywood elites have trans kids? Let's break it all down.
Celebrities that go around in their cars picking up transvestites, having sex, getting on national TV, making fun of them.
Alright, so let's first talk about Dave Chappelle's theory on this alleged agenda in Hollywood. They already slapped the label on Dave, transphobic, all because he made some jokes in his specials. But Dave is firing back, and he says a lot of his critics completely missed the point. According to Dave, this was never about mocking trans individuals. It's about exposing the agenda, the contract every Hollywood celebrity signs the second they want power. You want to stay on top, you want to avoid being canceled, then you will play along and fall in line. And if you don't, we'll erase you.
I was invited to speak to transgender employees at Netflix, and I refuse. That is not true. If they had invited me, I would have accepted it, although I am confused about what you said you want a safe working environment at Netflix. Well, it seems like I'm the only one that can't go to the office anymore. I want everyone in this audience to know that even though the media frames this, that it's me versus that community, it's not what it is. Do not blame the LGBTQ community for any of this. This has nothing to do with them. It's about corporate interests and what I can say and what I cannot say.
So Dave isn't punching down. He's pointing up at the machine, the one that's forcing these celebrities to endorse something they don't even believe, or something else they want to lose everything. And now Dave's comments are trending again after news broke that Eddie Murphy's child, Angel, came out as trans. Angel publicly changed his Instagram bio to he/him pronouns the second he turned 18. And both Sade and Mel B put out a statement saying they support their child's transition. An insider told Daily Mail it's a decision Angel made, and Mel has been understanding. Likewise, Eddie. There was no big event to market. Angel just wanted it to be known what pronouns are now suitable. But here's what they're not saying out loud. He reportedly doesn't support this. He's forced to. Why? Because this is allegedly what he has to do to keep that skeleton from his 90s in his closet. And for those of you who are too young to remember this, here's what went down. On May 2nd, 1997, at 4:55 in the morning, Eddie Murphy pulled over his Toyota Land Cruiser on Santa Monica Boulevard, an area notorious for transgender street workers, and picked up a trans woman who was 20 years old at the time. Her name was Shalimar Salehi, and just recently, an old paparazzi clip surfaced showing the exact moment Eddie got pulled over by police, with Shalimar sitting in the passenger seat. Shalimar was a Samoan-born trans woman who won Miss Island Queen in 1993. She later relocated to Los Angeles to become a fashion designer, and when that didn't work out, she resorted to being a street worker. And after some time working the streets, the LAPD knew her by name. That's why the police were keeping an eye on her when they saw her get into Eddie's SUV. Moments later, they pulled the car over and questioned Eddie for about 30 minutes. And get this, Eddie claimed he was just giving Shalimar a ride home and later denied knowing that she was trans. And while Eddie was eventually let go, Shalimar was arrested on an outstanding warrant. And by the next day, Shalimar's run-in with Eddie and her arrest had exploded all over the news in tabloid media. There was a huge media frenzy, with reporters and paparazzi swarming Shalimar as she was moved from jail to her court hearing.
Actor comedian Eddie Murphy has a run-in with the law this morning. In this case, it involves a transvestite prostitute. Reporter Juan Fernandez is live in Hollywood, California with the latest for us tonight. Juan?
Well, Al, when Eddie Murphy picked up this Hollywood hooker, he had no idea that right behind him were a pair of Vice Cops. Boulevard.
Deputies conducted a traffic stop of the car a few blocks away, at which time they learned that the driver was actor Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy was let go. Police say up to that point, nothing illegal had happened. But 20-year-old Addison Ciuli was cuffed and hauled away. A warrant was already out for his arrest.
And on May 29th, Judge Barry Taylor issued a warrant in the amount of $15,000 for his arrest and revoked his probation. He was brought to court today on that warrant.
Now, as for Eddie, he pulled the classic PR damage control move, claiming he was just being a good Samaritan who wanted to help someone.
Eddie Murphy says he did nothing wrong. He says he saw this person on the sidewalk looking rather restless. And all he did, he says, was offer them a ride home.
Then Eddie's story got even messier, because he claimed the reason he was out at 4 in the morning because he was looking for a book to read. Yeah, you heard that right. He said he was out on the Hollywood Strip at 4 a.m. looking for some reading material. Eddie's then wife, Nicole Murphy, was out of the country at the time, and Eddie said he was bored and wanted to go out and find a good book to read.
I love my wife, and I'm not gay, and I'm not, and that's what's weird about this, to have your sexuality question and your moral fiber question and all that, when all I was doing was trying to be nice to somebody.
Eddie Murphy tells E.T. that his wife and children were out of town, says he wanted something to read and went to a late-night newsstand. He stopped here and picked up the suspected transsexual at 4:45 in the morning. He says he thought he was aiding a distraught woman.
Looks like a pretty Hawaiian girl in the corner crying. It looks like she was crying. She goes, oh, Eddie Murphy. She noticed him at the light. She recognized Eddie Murphy. Oh, my God. So I go, what are you doing? Why are you out here working the streets so late? She goes, oh, I'm on my way home. Can you give me a ride home?
The story made zero sense then, and with all these new clips and testimony surfacing, it sounds even more ridiculous now. And one of the things that resurfaced is this interview with the late trans icon Octavia St. Laurent, where she called out Hollywood for being full of BL men.
Our whole world is being run by undercover that run around talking about how straight they are. People are so busy wasting their time bashing it when they can be doing something a lot more positive. These are the people you have to worry about.
And while Octavia didn't say Eddie's name directly, it was obvious who she was talking about. She referenced the Shalimar incident, and she also brought up Eddie's movie Boomerang, the same one where he mocked trans women.
You got big-time celebrities that go around in their cars picking up trans, having sex with them, and then getting on national TV making fun of them. Everything you do in life is like a boomerang. When you throw it, it eventually comes back.
Now let's talk about how the story with Eddie and Shalimar turned tragic. On the morning of April 22nd, 1998, almost exactly a year after Eddie was caught with Shalimar in his car, a dog walker found Shalimar's body on the sidewalk outside her apartment in Koreatown. Police claim Shalimar fell from the 5th floor and suffered head injuries. However, the autopsy found no substances or alcohol in her system, and they ruled her death an accident. But here's the really sketchy part. The coroner's report mentioned that a neighbor heard a scream around 5 a.m., right around the time Shalimar died. That detail had a lot of people thinking maybe it wasn't just a fall, maybe someone pushed her. Shalimar's friends and family also didn't buy the official story. And one of her friends, a drag queen who went by the name Viva, told a reporter from the Village Voice that the cops refused to investigate. But that's not all. A lot of the girls who worked with Shalimar claimed she was getting threats ever since her run-in with Eddie, and random people would approach her and tell her to keep her mouth shut. Shalimar's brother David also told Globe magazine that Shalimar became super paranoid and was convinced a hitman was following her. And just hearing Eddie Murphy's name would send her into a panic. On top of that, there were reports circulating at the time that Shalimar was planning to sell her story and expose not just Eddie, but other Hollywood men who frequently picked up trans street workers.
Shalimar had already talked to the National Enquirer while she was in jail, and the money they paid her went to posting her bail.
In the interview, Shalimar called Eddie's story bogus and said he definitely had other intentions when he picked her up. And according to Shalimar, the only reason Eddie didn't get arrested for solicitation that night was because he was famous. She told the Enquirer, "It's unfair I went to jail while Eddie Murphy walked away scot-free." But that wasn't the end of it, because after Shalimar's story blew up, dozens of other trans women came forward with stories about their own encounters with Eddie. And in response, Eddie filed million-dollar lawsuits against the Globe, the National Enquirer, and even the New York Times, claiming they were publishing false info about him. However, all those lawsuits were mysteriously dropped and settled out of court. But Eddie didn't stop at just settling those lawsuits. He hired attorney Marty Singer and brought in Hollywood fixer and private investigator Paul Baresi to track down other trans women who allegedly offered them payouts to keep quiet. And a court journalist, Mark Ebner, one of the trans workers, showed him the IRS documents proving that Marty Singer's firm paid her $15,000 to take back her story.
And she said, "Oh yeah, I've been with Eddie. He likes, he has a foot fetish, and also carnal candy has been with him, and so and so and so and so."
And just like that, this whole scandal was buried in memory hole. Meanwhile, Eddie's career exploded. He also leaned into this womanizer image, constantly being seen with new girlfriends. And now he's got 10 kids with 5 different women, almost like he's trying really hard to prove something. But now that news broke that one of Eddie Day's kids came out as trans, fans are bringing up this theory about Hollywood's trans agenda and how some celebrities supposedly make deals to raise at least one of their kids as trans. Even Cat Williams recently talked about this and said he predicted that this would become a trend in Hollywood. And then Cat also hinted that there's a ritualistic element to it, and that it's all part of some deal for power, fame, protection.
That's how you understand what a ritual is. So 20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was going to be a thing. It wasn't because I was a prophet. It's just I had gotten so much information that I just...
Now, whether you believe this theory or not, the timing of everything, from Eddie's past scandal and the suspicious death of the trans woman he picked up, and now to this news about his trans son, it's definitely got people looking at Eddie differently. Let me hear your thoughts on all this. Is there something deeper going on that we're not being told? How do you feel about this theory that celebs sign deals to raise their kids as trans? Drop your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned for the next video.